Hi everybody. So things have been a little crazy at our house, my house, for the past couple weeks. I live in Oregon and there are a lot of wildfires going on right now. So things got a little hectic. My parents and my daughter live near one of the, not in an evacuation zone, but right near where it was. And my daughter's building has had a lot of construction on it lately, and they haven't finished it yet, so her windows haven't been sealed. So all that smoke is like pouring into her apartment. So she's been staying at our house with her cat for the last week or so, and things are just now starting to clear in the air. So we got a little distracted with everything going on. We were supposed to get rain today or last night, but that didn't happen really, so we're hoping this weekend. So anyway, I got a little bit distracted with that and didn't quite get on to the next project as quickly as I had planned, but now we're here and I have the time to do it. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make these cute little pumpkin coasters as promised, and then also these cute little pumpkin amigurumi little stuffies. I'm going to show you some different ways to mix it up a little bit too, so let's get started. Okay guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start with this cute little pumpkin coaster that this was actually sort of a beginner project for myself even, but I made 4 of them, and then I made 4 more of them in white because they're super easy to do, and then I think I made a bunch of them for friends and I gave them out as gifts too. So they're very, very easy to make. If I had it to do differently, which now I do, I would probably do this with cotton yarn. This was done with acrylic yarn, probably just like Red Heart, just the regular Red Heart yarn, because I, was using cheap, whatever I could get my hands on, right? But acrylic yarn is not very absorbent, and if you're putting a cup on it that's like condensating, it's gonna get all wet, and acrylic works just fine, and it's softer, but I think that cotton is more absorbent. So if you have the option to use cotton, I would say do that. If you don't even have cotton around, you just want to use what you have laying around, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You won't notice that much of a difference. I'm going to link the original pattern, which I think is from like 2012. It's way back there. I'm going to link it in the description. I am going to make a modification, but this is such an easy pattern that, really there's no room for a lot of modification, but I'm just going to modify the beginning. So most of you know that I prefer to do a magic ring instead of chaining because it makes a nice tight hole, and also because it's a lot easier to work with. So in order to make a magic ring, what we're going to do anytime you make a magic ring is you're going to act like you're doing a slip knot, and then you're going to pull this up like this. But instead of pulling the whole thing tight like you would for a slip knot, you're going to leave it there, and then you're going to chain 1, and that'll kind of lock it in place. And then all the stitches that we do for the first round is going to go around this. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then you're going to do 1 half double crochet. So wrap it like you're going to do double, go into that hole, and then you're going to pull through all 3. Whoops, if you can manage to do that. Then you're going to do 5 double crochets. Okay, so just make sure that you got all 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to do your half double crochet, and then a single crochet. So that is half of the inner circle of this pumpkin. You're making an oval, and you just did 1/2 of that oval. So now we're going to continue on. You're not going to do the single crochet again. There's only 1 in the middle. So then you're going to do the half double crochet, and then you're going to do your 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you're going to do a half double crochet again. And you're not going to do a single crochet. Instead, you're going to, because you already have a single crochet there, so instead we're going to go ahead and pull the magic ring so that it's nice and tight. And then you're going to go to the original single crochet, which is right here. Then you're going to slip stitch just like that. to join it together. Don't worry about it being like that hole being loose. You can tighten it up at the end when we weave in the ends. So now you're going to chain up 1. We're on row 2. You're going to go ahead and just do a regular single crochet back in the same hole that chain came from. And then you're going to do a half double crochet right on the top of the other half double crochet. And then these 5 double crochets, you're going to do 2 double crochets in each one. So back in the same one. Make sure you have 2 or 5 sets of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, I have 1 more to do. Okay, then we're gonna half double crochet just on top of that other half double crochet. And then you're gonna single crochet. And then you're gonna half double crochet. Hopefully you're starting to get the pattern here. And then on all 5 of those DCs, you're gonna do 2 double crochets in each one. Okay, so I finished the 5 sets of 2 double crochets. So we're down here, we're going to finish with an HDC. And then just like before, you're going to find that original single crochet and you're going to slip stitch into that to join it. Just like that. Okay, we just finished row 2. Now we're going to do row 3. We're going to, just like before, chain 1, go back and single crochet in that one, the same one that you chained out of. And then you're going to HDC in the first one. And now instead of having 10 double crochet, or instead of having 5 double crochets, you have 10. So we're going to do 2 double crochets in each one of those 10. So we're basically multiplying it to be 20. So 2 in each hole. So make sure you have 10 sets of 2 double crochets. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then just like before, you're going to do a half double crochet here and a single crochet here. And then you're going to basically do that exact same thing going around, except for when you get to the single crochet, stop. So I'll meet you at the end of that. Okay, so I actually have completed, you want to make sure that you did your half double crochet and then make sure you have 10 sets of 2 double crochets together. And then the last one is a half double crochet, and then what you do is you find that single crochet that you did at the beginning and you slip stitch into it. So if you're just doing a coaster, that's as far as you have to go. Go ahead and you're going to chain 1 to finish this off, and then go ahead and tighten this middle part up and then weave in your ends, and you have the beginning of your coaster, and then we'll add the stem. However, since I've already have 2 sets of coasters, I'm going to continue on doing the exact same thing for another 2 rounds, and I'm going to make it into a small kitchen cloth. So that so I end up basically having a very large pumpkin. So let's see how that works out. Okay guys, so here's what I noticed in trying to multiply how big this is that it's starting to ruffle, and that's because I have too many stitches going on in here. Usually when you're expanding a circle, the first row you do you double it, the second row you do 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1. And so me trying to do 2 in every one is making it too much yarn for the amount of space it's covering. So I'm going to go back, and I'm actually, instead of doing double crochet in every single one of these double crochets, or 2 instead of, let me reword. Instead of trying to do 2 double crochets in each one of these, I'm going to do 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. If you're only doing a coaster, you don't have to worry about that. Just follow what I did from the beginning and you'll do exactly, it'll come out looking exactly like that. But since I'm trying to expand this and make it larger, I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to undo this row and redo it so you can see what it looks like. Okay guys, so here's the end of my first extra row that I did because I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger for a kitchen cloth, and it lays a lot better, it lays a lot flatter. So I'm going to try and take it one more row out to take it to be right about there, and right about there. And I'm going to follow the rules that you would do if you're crocheting in the round. So usually you do 2 in one stitch and then 1 in the next stitch. On the next row, you would do 2 in one stitch and then 1 in the next stitch and 1 in the following stitch and then back to 2. So I'm going to do that to expand it out without making it get too full so that it lays nice and flat. Okay, I'll be honest, in that journey I was starting to second guess myself a little bit because it was still really ruffly when I got done with it, but it actually blocks out pretty well when you're done. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the cute little stem that goes right here. I'm gonna show you, you could make it wider if you wanted to, because if you're working on a bigger pumpkin, but I'm actually gonna use the same size stem that they did. The only difference is I think I might make it taller just because this is so much bigger. So I'm gonna go ahead and just teach you exactly what they did here, and then you're just gonna add rows to make it taller if you want to. If you're just doing this little guy, then that's all you have to do. Grab your secondary color. I'm doing gray, but you can do anything that represents a stem to you. On this one I did kind of a cool little tweed, and on this one was just like a brown or like a tan color. I think it was actually kind of gold, but anything that screams pumpkin to you, then go ahead and do that. So then you're gonna go, so wherever your single crochet, where your first HDC was, you're gonna go to the first double crochet on the other side of your HDC. So basically your stem is gonna take up 5 stitches. 1, 2, the center one is that single crochet, 3, or 4, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how many stitches it's gonna take. This is so darn easy, you're gonna be amazed. You can kind of see where your center is. So this is the center, you're gonna go 2 over, that's where you're gonna start. So go ahead and slip stitch into that to join the new yarn. Chain up 1, single crochet across those first 5 stitches. Okay, easy peasy, right? It doesn't really say what to do next on the pattern, but I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you, chain up 1, turn your work, and then you're gonna do the same exact thing going back across, just single crochet all the way across it. Okay, there's the beginning of your stem right there. You're gonna go up 1 more row. If you're doing the coaster, it's 3 rows. Okay, so you can choose to stop right there if you want to. There's your cute little stem. But because mine is bigger and my stem kind of gets lost in there, that's enough, definitely enough if you're just doing your coaster. But mine's bigger, so I'm gonna make mine, I think, 1 taller. We'll see if I like that. So I'm gonna do 4 rows for my little kitchen cloth. What do you think? Is that tall enough? I think it is. Yep. Okay, so then all you do is you just chain 1 to lock it, and then go ahead and trim it and weave in your ends. Okay, you guys, in order to make these cute little amigurumi pumpkins, they're actually very, very simple, and it's actually a lot like if you watched my video on how to make a 1-hour beanie. It's almost exactly the same. There's just a couple of changes to it. Instead of sewing just the top, you're going to actually sew both ends together. And there's going to be a slight variation in the middle just to make the pumpkin kind of swell out like a pumpkin. So, and then we just add this little stem on top. So you're just going to need not very much yarn at all. So I just grabbed, we have a lot of orange and black going on here. So I just grabbed a little bit of moss green to kind of mix it up a little. This is just a regular acrylic size 4 yarn, and this is for the stem, also just an acrylic size 4 yarn. You're going to want a little bit of polyfill. If you don't have polyfill, if you keep your scraps, like I sometimes keep all my scraps. They make really good stuffing too, actually softer than polyfill even. So if that's something you want to reuse your yarn scraps for, you can do that too. But I'm going to use polyfill because I don't have enough yarn scraps to do that with. So this is very simple. We're going to make a rectangle. But the rectangle is going to be shaped kind of funny because we're going to kind of puff it out in the middle. So we're going to be doing single crochets and HDCs. So first thing you're going to want to do is chain 15. So most of you know I don't usually do chains because I don't like them because they're not very stretchy. But in this case, it's such a small item that it doesn't really matter. So you're not even going to know where that chain is anyway because it's going to get kind of sewn in there. So just go ahead and chain 16. 1, 2, 3. This is the side of the pumpkin. Basically, we're going to do a rectangle this way, and then we're going to sew it together. So you can actually decide how tall you want. You can make your pumpkin taller. You can make it shorter. All of that, you can modify all of that. Once I'm just going to teach you the basic pumpkin, and then you can do all kinds of cool things with it. And I can't wait to see them. In fact, if you guys want to post pictures in the Facebook group, I would love to see all your different modifications. You're going to go into back loop only, and you're going to single crochet the first 3 stitches. Okay, yeah, so the next 9 stitches, you're going to do an HDC. And that's what's going to kind of puff it out a little bit. After you get through the chain, the rest of it's really easy. It's just getting in that chain that's hard. This is a great way to use up scrap yarn too. So basically you're going until you have 3 stitches left just to match the other side. And then you're going to single crochet in the last 3. So it's single crochet the first 3, HDC 9, single crochet the last 3. It gives you 15 stitches all together. Oops. Okay, so then you're gonna chain up 1, turn it. This time you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do single crochet in the first 5 stitches, and then you're going to HDC in the first, let me do some math here, 5, or in the middle 5 stitches, and then the last 5 are going to be regular single crochet. So it's gonna be, we're gonna go single crochet into this one, back stitch only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now switch to HDC, which is half double crochet. So wrap once, go through all 3 for the next 5. Should always add up to 15. If you are elongating your pumpkin, then just figure out what your total stitches should be and just sort of break it down that way. I've actually done pumpkins without making it wider in the middle too. They're more up and down. In fact, I think that's what this one was. They're cute no matter what you do. So now I'm switching back to single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if you were going to switch colors, and do a striped pumpkin like this one, this is when you'd want to do it, after your second row. So then you would switch colors right here. I'm actually going to make this just a solid color just to keep it easy for everybody, but if you want that modification to be there, then that would be a good time to do that. So chain up one. Now we're going to go back to exactly what we did on the first row. So just single crochet the first 3, and then you're going to half double crochet the next 9, okay, and then back to single crochet for the next 3. Still doing back loop only on this whole thing. Okay, and then the next row, do just like you did on the second row, and you're going to continue doing that until you get to, you can actually decide. It doesn't really even matter that much. So, because you can make them wider if you want to, or you can make them short and squatty, or you can make them tall and skinny, or whatever you like. So I'm going to continue this, and I'll tell you how many rows I did when I got to the end. Okay, so this is where I'm at so far. I've gone 2, 4, 6, 8 rows. So what I've remembered, the funny thing about picking these up and doing them again after so many years is that you try to go off memory, and then it does start to come back like muscle memory, but sometimes it takes a little while. So basically for this one, I did 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 28 rows. For that one. So you can make it as wide or as skinny as you want to. I could probably count, this one's probably 26 rows because it's taller but not quite as round. So you decide how wide you want to make it. I would say at least 26 rows, maybe somewhere between 24 and 28, but you definitely want them to be even number of rows, because when you connect them to each other, you don't want that seam to be obvious, right? You don't want it to be off. So so just keep going until you get to how wide you want to make it, and then we'll put it together. Okay guys, so here we are. I have done 26 rows, and you can tell that this is the correct side, I guess, the front, because the rows curve inward that way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold it in half this way. Actually, we're going to fold it in half the opposite. So we want it to be inside out, basically. So you want the right side to be on the inside right now. And you are going to basically, the pattern says to go ahead and just, you're going to chain up 1, which I already did, and then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch between these 2 rows right here. I tried to get fancy and just do the inside ones, kind of like we did for joining our squares in the quarantine blanket, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to make this like kind of big line in here that's kind of thick, but it doesn't really matter because it's all going to be on the inside anyway, so your pumpkin won't even know the difference. And by doing this, you put this ridge on the inside, and then it connects those 2 indentations on the outer edges together so that it looks continuous. You won't even know where the seam is when you're looking at it from the outside. So that is what it looks like. You've basically made a tube, and I don't know if you can tell, but the tube actually, it's a little bit like tighter here and a little bumpier in the middle. That's why we did those HDCs in the middle. So you can definitely see where the seam is, but it doesn't matter because this is the inside of the pumpkin. So what you want to do next is you want to go ahead and chain 1, and you're going to make, oops, I chained with the wrong yarn. That was the end of the other yarn. Okay, you're going to chain 1 with the correct yarn, and then you're going to pull a really, really long tail, because you're going to do some sewing with this on both sides of your pumpkin. So give yourself some space, and if it's too long, it doesn't matter because we'll just trim it, and it can end up being part of the stuffing that you put inside if you want. What you want to do is you just want to go through here, and you want to grab each of these little nubs, and it doesn't even have to be like any particular stitch. You're just basically kind of closing this hole up. And I like to grab the longer ones and let the shorter ones just kind of hang out. That way it's not so like thick. See how it just kind of gathers them up like that? And it really does not matter where you put them as long as they're kind of spaced out. Okay, and then you're going to pull that nice and tight. Go ahead and knot it so it stays in place. You can actually even, like, I like to go across it so that it doesn't have any like holes or gaps or anything in there. Kind of like sew up a couple of little holes there. Okay, so now you want to make sure, we're going to turn this right side out. And the two things you want to be sure of, you want to make sure that this yarn is on the outside. And this yarn that was dangling around needs to be on the inside. So we're going to put that one in there. And it, like I said, you don't even have to. Look, it looks like a little hat. So you don't even have to try and weave this in or anything, because it's just going to be hanging out with all the stuffing on the inside. So if you were thinking ahead, you probably could have pulled that one inside. I was not thinking ahead. So there we go, like that. Okay, so this is on the outside, this is on the inside of the pumpkin. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put that stuffing in there. And I just kind of put it in little pieces. If you have like extra yarn you wanna stick in there, like your little yarn shreds, you totally can. I don't have a lot of yarn shreds to work with, so I'm gonna save those up for the next one. It's been a long time since I've done stuffed things, but I saw some really cute Halloween ones that we might do, so maybe I'll save my shreds for those. These are more harvesty, but they look awfully cute with the Halloween ones. You don't want to stuff it too full because you don't want to like see the cotton coming through there, but you know, you want it to be pretty firm. So go ahead now and you can take this yarn. Also, there's lots of different ways to embellish these, and if you want to make a pumpkin like into a jack-o'-lantern and you want to put eyes and stuff on there, you can actually sew them on the outside, or if you're doing like the ones that have the little snap-on things, now would be the time to do that before you close up the pumpkin. I kind of like my pumpkins to look all natural. That way I can use them September all the way through November. So you're actually going to stick this back through this hole and pull it all the way up to the top. And then from here, you're going to do the exact same thing. You're just going to grab these pieces and pull them together like you did on the bottom. Okay, and before you pull it super tight, kind of make sure that he's about as like the shape that you want him to be. We're actually gonna pull this down a little. You can choose to pull it down a little. And then, so you just, like right now, we're just making sure that we have enough stuffing in there, and you can actually put more stuffing in right now if you want to. But if you feel like there's enough, you can go ahead and close it up, but do not weave in your end. We're actually going to continue to use that when we sew on the little capper, the stem. So go ahead and kind of shape him kind of the way you want him to look. And then you can close it up just like that. Isn't he so cute? It automatically kind of pulls that top in so that it like looks like a pumpkin. It kind of like curves inward, which I think is so fun. And then you can, and if you want it to pull down really tight, you can. Just be careful you don't break your yarn. And then I'm just gonna do a little knot across the bottom here to keep it secure, just like that. Okay, so leave him just the way he is right now. And we're gonna set him aside. One kind of fun thing before we do the stem, one kind of fun thing that you can do just to kind of give him a little extra depth is something like what I did with this one. Now this pumpkin was actually a different pattern, and it was just basically a single crochet tube. So if you just wanna make just a rectangle that's single crochet, through the whole thing, and then just connect them together like we did with this one, and you don't even have to do the ridges or anything. But it was he was sort of sad, like he didn't have any dimension to him, so I just used some yarn to kind of give him some depth. This one has the ridges, so you don't really need it, but it would be kind of fun, and you can do it if you want to just kind of pull some yarn through. Give yourself a lot if you're going to go all the way around the pumpkin, but you can just wrap it. So just keep going through that same spot, and you can kind of decide where you want to put your little ridges, and you can put them like, I mean, if you want a lot of them, you can put them right in between those two outside, because you'll be able to see the ridges just like that. Not fun? So then you can just kind of keep going, or you can maybe skip to and go over here. Just kind of gives him a little bit more pumpkin-y look. There we go, just like that. And then just keep going all the way around and then tie it off, and you'll have something that's just a little bit more pumpkin-y looking, I think. Isn't it cute? And you can always shape them too, kind of the way you want it to look. Here, I just finished like putting all those lines in, and I pulled it down to the bottom so that you can all you really need to do is just like tie a knot right here. And then just like before, you don't have to weave in your ends. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that later. So just tie a cute little knot so it stays secure. Just like that. And then you can cut, like you don't have to keep all of this on here. You can actually cut like, you know, that. And then we'll weave those in a special way. Just kind of leave those dangling down there. Okay, so we'll set him aside. I think it's so cool that I don't think I've ever done two pumpkins that are exactly the same. So just like in life, there are no two pumpkins that are exactly alike, and I think that is what makes them so cool. Anyway, so we'll set him aside. So the stem's super easy. You're just going to do a magic circle, just like before. Only this time you're going to do 5 single crochets in this little hoop right here. So that's a chain up. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then you're going to pull your magic ring together nice and tight. And then you're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. Just like that. That is the top of your stem. Then you're just going to, you can chain up 1 if you want to, and then you're going to single crochet all the way around and join with a slip stitch. And I would say like maybe 3 rows. You can decide how long you want your stem to be. I've had pumpkins that have short little stubby stems and some that have tall stems. It just kind of depends on what you like. I think because this guy is kind of a short squatty pumpkin, I think I might do a longer stem on him. Okay, so that's the end of the 5, so just go over to the last or the first single crochet and join it with a slip stitch, chain up 1, and go back into that same stitch that you chained from, do a single crochet, and then just keep going all the way around. And we're going to do that until our stem is as long as we want it to be. And then we have a cute little way of ending the stem so that it's got like a little more natural end to it than just straight. If you have a hard time seeing where the end is, there's a couple different things you can do. You can either stitch mark it, or to be honest, it doesn't really matter. If you just want to, you don't have to do the join with the slip stitch. You can just keep going in the round until it's as long as you want it to be. It really doesn't matter. So if you miss it, don't worry about it. Just keep going. This is the final row. I think I ended up doing, this is nice and tall because I wanted like a pretty solid stem on my pumpkin. So that's taller than was in the original pattern. I think I did like 6 rows on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's 6 more. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did 6. So and then this will be 7, which will be the last one. You can do whatever makes you happy. If you want like a long skinny one, you can even do like 4, and then instead of 5, so it's not so thick, you can actually use a smaller hook if you want it the stem to be skinnier. It's completely up to you. It would be kind of fun to do one that started off skinny and then like made itself bigger, and you can do all of those things. So if you want to modify, that would be fun. I love it when everything's a little bit different for every personality. So what we're going to do on here is we're going to chain up 1 just like we did before. We're going to single crochet, and then you're going to chain 3. Actually, yeah, chain 3, and then you're going to single crochet right back in that same stitch. And you're going to do that all the way around. So do it again, single crochet, chain 3. I think 2 would probably even be good. It's kind of up to you what you want to do. But all it's doing, make sure I hit all the stitches, is it's making this cute little ruffle so that when you put it on there, it looks more like a real stem instead of just like a straight up and down stem. Okay, I've come all the way around. It looks like kind of a cute little, almost like a little witch's hat. And then you're just going to go ahead and connect it right there. So this is an opportunity too. If you, for whatever reason, didn't have a long end on your string here, you could just do it with this. Like, you've got lots of opportunities to have a nice long tail that you can sew in with. In fact, I think I might do that just so that it's like right in the right spot. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead. I'll trim a long tail on this one too. So I can go ahead and actually get rid of all of these tails since I have a nice long tail here, and that actually gives us the opportunity to pick which side is better to be for the top. So all you do with these, you don't have to weave them in. You just take your little string, you go somewhere in the yarn or in the where it's like nice and beefy and has lots of padding in there. Stick your needle through it. Oops, these guys are all getting caught up in there. Stick your needle through there and pull it out, and then all you're going to do is you're just going to trim it right there. So it's just basically in the stuffing. You'll never see it again. Same thing with these guys. Okay, so kind of have to decide, where is the better pumpkin shape? Is it here, like this? Oh, that top is really big. Or is it on this side? Not cute though. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna put a little bit of stuffing inside here just to keep it nice and fluffy. Oh, the other thing too is you can kind of decide, this is actually inside out. And you can decide if you want it to look like actual single crochets on the outside, or if you want it to be the inside. I kind of like the inside. It's completely up to you. Whatever you think looks better for your pumpkin is totally fine. Okay, so I think I like the way this looks the best. So now, a couple different ways you can sew this on here. You can go around the inside so that these little ruffles stick up if you want, because that looks really cute. Or you can actually sew these little ruffles down so it looks more like the stem is growing out of the middle. Again, totally your choice. I think I kind of like the little ruffles. I think I'm going to sew the edges down. Okay, so there's no exact science to this. You basically just take them and sew them in wherever you can hide it so it doesn't look so obvious, right? So, and if you can decide if you want to have it out here or if you want to have it up close. I kind of want to have it a little closer, so I'm just going to stick them nearby. Once we get this down mostly, I'll give you the opportunity to put a little more stuffing in there if you want to. Okay, I kind of already sealed it up, but if you wanted to, you can actually leave that open and put more stuffing. I think I might actually stick a little bit more stuffing right in here. I like to kind of go like deep under here and knot it. Just like that. And then just like before, we're gonna hide our yarn in here. Trim that, and then take this one and do the exact same thing. Okay. Ta-da! Gosh, they're so cute. I just can never get enough of these. I make them every year. It doesn't matter how many I have. I always make more. I always give them to people. Like whenever we go over for like, you know, gatherings and stuff in the fall, I always bring a little pumpkin or something with me. They're just so, so fun. So obviously the difference between this one is that this was actually the same size yarn. I just used a smaller hook. So if you go down a size on your hook, I didn't do the wrap part, but I did do the changing colors just to kind of give it that depth. This one was done with cotton yarn actually. And this one I actually didn't do, I think I did a double crochet instead of doing an HTC to kind of make this part wider, and I made them taller. So instead of doing whatever we did, 15 stitches, I probably did like 20 sums or like maybe 20 stitches on that to make him taller. And I didn't pull it quite so tight. So he was more like a tube. That's what made him tall and skinny like that. And then this one's very similar to this one. I didn't pull it tight. And then the stem, I think I actually did the stems with a smaller hook too. So you can just play and play and play. There's so many different ways to do it. And the ones I did last year for the kids were actually way bigger. So I used bigger yarn and a bigger hook. And so you can do that too. You can make like pumpkin pillows if you want to. So that is all of those. I will show you what they look like size-wise in the end screen. Okay, so things I made, of course, modifications as I always do, but because I already had 2 sets of these cute little pumpkin coasters, I was like, I think I'll make a bigger one, and I'm gonna make it into a little, I call them kitchen cloths. We use them for washcloths, we use them for hot pads, we use them kind of for everything. He turned out really, really cute. So you can just do the smaller version and do the coaster part, or you can do the bigger one and make a kitchen cloth out of them if you like. That was that little modification, and then this is our cute little green pumpkin that we made. Since I already had so much orange going on, I thought maybe we should mix it up a little bit. As I explained before, you can make them be any size, any shape you want them to be. And I can't wait to see all of yours. Pumpkins are my favorite thing. This is my favorite time of year, September through November. So all the colors, all the oranges, and all the great things about this time of year, I'm going to embrace it. Even though we are surrounded by smoke and things are crazy this year, we're gonna celebrate the heck out of this fall, I think. Anyway, so isn't he super cute? So our next video, as promised, the video we did before was this one, the little twisted neck wrap. So if you're interested in learning how to make that, I will put a link to the video down below here, hopefully, if I've figured out how to do all that stuff. And then also our next video that we're gonna do is going to be the Celtic weave fingerless gloves. So we're gonna do Celtic weave fingerless gloves. I've never done them before, so you're gonna watch me struggle through them, and I will figure out how to do those, but they match the Celtic weave head wraps that we did in the video we did 2 videos ago, and I think I'm gonna link that one down below too, so you can see all of that. I am really enjoying making these videos for you guys, and I'm enjoying all the new friends that I'm making on Facebook too. We have a Facebook group called Janelle's Quarantine Crochet. You're welcome to join it if you want to. It's a great place to share pictures of your completed works, and every time somebody leaves a comment on YouTube with like, I'm doing this with this yarn and this blah blah blah, and I'm like, I want to see it. So join the Facebook group so you can post pictures, and then I actually tag the pictures in whatever project so that it's kind of like an album. So it turns out really cool. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope I will see you on the next video. Bye.